Relationships are not going to cure loneliness. Relationships are not going to cure lust. It's not going to cure insecurities. It's not going to cure anything that you were dealing with prior to meeting this person. Are you truly ready to dive into the dating world, or do you need more time to work on yourself? I'm Daria, and welcome back to Salt's YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about, am I even ready to date? Okay, 3 honest questions to ask yourself before you start pursuing a relationship. And I pray that at the end of the day, you were saved from wasting time and even heartache because you got into something prematurely. And the first question we're going to be asking is, do I have healthy expectations? Culture has really done a number on us because unfortunately we have this skewed view of relationships. If you're like me and you grew up watching the classic Disney cartoons and we think that the woman is the damsel in distress and the guy is supposed to just sweep her off her feet and he's supposed to rescue her, complete her, and they have this beautiful happily ever after with no fights, no conflict or nothing. Yeah, that's the wrong viewpoint to have with relationships. That is not it, you all. It's fine for entertainment, but when real life happens, no. Okay, that is not what a relationship is supposed to be. And unfortunately, some of us haven't been able to differentiate entertainment from reality. And we put these expectations on people based off of what we saw in the movies or what we read in books or what we heard in a song. And we're swooning over it, right? But it's not life. It's not real life. So I'm encouraging you to ask yourself, do I have healthy expectations? Do I have a healthy viewpoint of relationships? Or am I putting pressure on this relationship to complete me, right? To fulfill me? Relationships are not going to cure loneliness. Relationships are not going to cure lust. It's not going to cure insecurities. It's not going to cure anything that you were dealing with prior to meeting this person. And even with the right person, you still need grace. Why? Because they are a flawed human being. They're going to make mistakes. You're going to say things that get on each other's nerves. You're going to irritate one another every now and then. They could very well be the right person for you, but that doesn't mean that they're not human. And when we put these expectations on people that were never meant to be there in the first place, we're only going to do the relationship harm. So I'm here to tell you that the only person that can fulfill you from the inside out, the only person who can give you identity, the only person who can make you feel loved, the only person that can give you purpose, like you feel like life is worth living for, is Jesus Christ. He is the only one that can fulfill you. We were made from love because God is love according to the Bible. So why would we look to someone else that's on our level when we can look to the Creator? Creation to creation relationships are fine. But if you want fulfillment, if you want to be complete, if you want to have that sense of purpose, go to God first. And when you have a healthy relationship with Him, then you're able to have that healthy relationship from person to person. But unfortunately, we got it backwards. So I'm encouraging you, if you have a skewed viewpoint, make sure that your relationships are based off of God's word. Because the truth is, relationships, yes, they can be fun. Yes, they can be romantic, but the whole purpose of marriage is for the husband and the wife to be a picture of Jesus Christ and the church in the earth. You two, as a married couple, are supposed to represent the gospel as the husband sacrifices and lays down his life for his wife, as the wife honors and respects her husband. That should inspire people. That should minister to people. And it really does, if you think about it. Whenever I see a husband and he's just, loving his wife and he's, talking about all her accomplishments and he's saying how he's proud of her, or even when he simply opens the door for her, like when we see those things, like, oh my gosh, that's so sweet. God knows that relationships move people. So no wonder the enemy is after it, because he wants to skew and distort that picture. 2, have I healed from my past? You may be watching this thinking, I'm okay. There's nothing wrong. I've healed from my past relationships. I've healed past, anything that happened in my childhood. You very well may have, and I'm proud of you if you have. But also realize that things come up even in the right relationship. There's going to be things that are shown in you that maybe you didn't realize were there. And I have heard that from so many married couples when they say marriage is a mirror. Marriage is a mirror. So whatever you don't like or you're still working on in yourself, that's going to come up even in your marriage, the right relationship. So if you haven't healed from some things, or if you've been sweeping things under the rug, if you have not been proactive in your healing, I'm encouraging you to do that now. And even if you have healed from some things, just know that things can happen that can trigger you. I've seen that even in my own relationship. And I'm like, wait a minute, God, I thought I healed from this. I thought I was past this. But when they come up, when those triggers arise again, it just means that you need another layer of healing. If it hurts still, if it's a sore spot for you, just say, you know what, God, thank you for another layer of healing right now, because you may see some things with your future spouse that bring stuff out of you, and you may be tempted to blame them, but it's showing what you need to work on the inside of you. You may see things that remind you of an ex, and the person that you're with has nothing to do with that. They're actually right for you, but because you see those little things, it takes you back. And if you're constantly being taken back, if you're constantly rehearsing the past, it's not going to help your future relationship. Or it may have nothing to do with an ex. Maybe it has something to do with how you were raised. Maybe your father wasn't present in the home. Maybe you never saw a healthy marriage or a relationship. So now you're in one and you have nothing to refer to, because you're seeing these things come up and you're like, where am I supposed to go? Go to God. Go to God. He is your source, and He can show you. He can heal you. Ask Him, Lord, if there are things in me that still need to be healed, please show me. And yes, healing is messy. Healing is not fun. But when you do the work, it is so beautiful on the other side. And also know too that God can very well heal while you're in the relationship. But I encourage you to heal as much as possible before bringing someone else into the picture, because it's not fair to make the present person in your life pay for the mistakes of what happened before. So ask yourself, have I healed from my past? And then finally, is it God's timing? We hear that and we're like, okay, trust God's timing. But how many of us really take that seriously? And I really didn't fully understand that until I met my current fiance, because in 2015, I really had just a pivotal moment. My heart was heavy, and I was single at the time, and I was just like, God, why isn't this happening? God, I really want this. God, I'm praying. God, I'm trying to remain faithful to you. God, I'm trying to fulfill my calling. God, I'm trying to focus my attention on other things, but nothing is happening. God, is there something wrong with me? And of course, you have well-meaning people that want to ask, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have kids? We hear it, right? So God really showed me in 2015 that, Daria, there's some things that we still got to work on. And I'm thinking, but I healed, haven't I? I've healed, right? I'm good. But there were things that I had to work on, not realizing years later when I did meet my future husband, he had just gotten saved in 2015. And even then, me having my own moment with God, God led me in that moment to pray for my future husband. I had no idea what he was going through. I had no idea what he was facing. But if we had met in 2015 or even prior, it wouldn't have worked out. So you very well, yes, may have a heavy heart about this. You may want things to happen quicker, but you don't know what your future spouse is going through. So whenever you feel that and you feel that heaviness, take the attention off of you and start praying for your future spouse, because it could be a timing issue. Your future spouse maybe they're in a relationship that they shouldn't be in and they have yet to let go. Maybe they need some growing. Maybe they need to mature in some areas. You may be okay. You may be further along in your healing, but maybe they have yet to get to that point with their healing. And when God revealed that to me, it really took the focus off of me. And I began to pray even more earnestly for my future husband, because now my mindset was, you know what, Lord, whatever he's facing right now, God, whatever he's going through right now, help him. God, I pray that he looks to you. And when I hear my future husband talk now and how God was really working on his heart and how God was, maturing him in some areas, I'm like, oh my gosh, I had no idea what I was praying for. But because of God's timing, we were able to meet in the right time, where we were both in alignment with our standards, where we were both in alignment with our destinations and where we were going. And even though the wait took longer than what I expected, I would not trade it for anything, because to be in a God-honoring relationship that is kingdom focused, you all, there's no, seriously, it's no wonder the enemy wants to skew it. So it may not be God's timing right now. And I know it's difficult, but try to just have even if it's just a little bit, just a slight mental shift to where you're no longer focusing on what you don't have, and start interceding for your future spouse. And in due time, we may think that God is cutting it close, We may think that God is taking too long, but trust that he has your best interest at heart. He cares about you. Absolutely. No question about it. So quick recap before we close out this particular episode. 1, do I have healthy expectations? 2, have I healed from my past? And then finally, is it God's timing? So thank you so much for spending this time with me. Subscribe again to SALT if you have not already, and go ahead and leave a comment below. Which of these questions resonated with you? Which one are you going to implement? Maybe which one do you need to work on? So thank you so much. I will see you all in the next video. God bless. Have a good one. Bye.